Hello everybody, welcome back to the Abingdon Code channel. My name is Abingdon, and if you cannot tell from my voice today, I am a bit under the weather. So I can't leave you guys hanging on a Tuesday because I always do YouTube lives on Tuesdays, and I definitely did not want to leave you hanging this Tuesday. So I rallied. I am full of cough medicine and I am full of Red Bull, and I'll probably sniffle a couple times, maybe cough a couple times, but you know what? Sickness happens. It's not COVID, thank God. It's just a head cold. And so I definitely still wanted to talk about something that has been coming up a lot in conversation as of recent, and that is the debate between smartwatches and analog watches. So your Apple Watch, your Samsung, your Fitbit, all of those smartwatches and the wearable market that we talk about and that we are completely engulfed in because you see them everywhere. Why would you ever want to have an analog watch when you have those things, or when you have your cell phone in your pocket? These are all the types of questions that I get all the time, and it's a no-brainer to me, but I am very, very curious as to what you think too. So if you are tuning into this live, then definitely put your comments in the comment section, and I want to hear what you have to say, because this is not a one-person show. I want to hear what y'all have, and if you disagree with me, tell me why, and maybe I'll be swayed. I might not be, because I've been arguing this for a couple years now, but if your argument is compelling enough, then who knows, you might change my ways. So I have here an Apple Watch that was given to me that I kind of wear here and there just to kind of hear and see and feel the functions and all that type of stuff. So this is one of the few watches that I own that is not an Abingdon watch. And then I also have an analog watch. And so why would you ever want to wear an analog watch over a smartwatch? There's a ton of reasons, but the first reason that I think is really important is the artistry of an analog watch. When you talk about analog watches, whether it's a quartz or a mechanical, there's so much involved in the building of a watch, and to get it to the precision timing that it has, it's a work of art. And honestly, if you really do, if you're just so surrounded by your computers, by your cell phone, by your Apple Watch or whatever the smartwatch is that you're wearing, and you have those things all the time, then why not have something that helps balance? So having a mechanical watch on your wrist, having something that kind of takes away from the technological, surroundings that is our world today, it's such a nice means of just balancing that whole tech life that we are living in right now with something that kind of brings us a little bit back to nature and to mechanics. So that's one of the top things I think is important about wearing an analog watch, is the mechanics, the artistry, and just that step back from turning off the digital world. Which brings me to my second point, and that is something that MK, if you guys know her, she's been part of this channel for a while. She's also been part of the company for a while. I also have to say, this is an ode and an homage to MK. This is her last week. So if you know MK, if you worked with her before, if she's helped you out with anything related to the company, then you gotta send her a message and give her a goodbye and a well wish. But one of the things that she said that was important as to why one would wear an analog watch versus a smartwatch is that you don't have digital interruptions. Because when you are wearing a smartwatch, what happens? You get a ding, or you get a buzz, a vibration, if you've got a text message, if you've got a phone call. If I'm in a conversation with somebody, if I'm at Thanksgiving dinner with the family and my phone is going off on my watch, well, that's gonna be an interruption. It's not just gonna be an interruption to me, but it's an interruption to the people that I'm with. And that's distracting. It's not, it's kind of rude, it's disrespectful. So there are places to wear smartwatches, don't get me wrong. When you're in the workplace and you need that text message, you need that email to come through, or you need that phone call to come in, then great, wear it. But if you are at an important function, if you're at something where you want to really give the time and the respect to the people that are across from you, and maybe you want to take the smartwatch off and put an analog on and give that respect to the person that you're with. Just my idea. Oh, we've got a couple comments already. Hi, Abingdon. I hope you are well. Ugh, thank you. And I've always loved analog watches because you can use them as compasses. Yes, you totally can. Great comment, Cool TV. And you are absolutely correct. In fact, the Jane watch that I'm wearing right here has a compass around the inner bezel, and yes, there are lots and lots of ways that you can use the hour and the minute hand and the sun to use as a compass if you need it. If you were in a survival mode, you totally have that. Or if you just want to have a cool party trick at a barbecue, then yes, you can also use watches for other things other than telling time. So I'm totally with you on that one. Our other comment, mechanical watches have a romance about them. Paul, you are so correct. They have a warmth unlike a sterile smartwatch. I could not agree with you more, and that's kind of where my first point about the artistry of the watch. There is a romance to it, and I do believe that with quartz watches, with analog watches or mechanical watches, it doesn't matter, you have an essence to that timepiece that kind of makes you an extension of it. And so there's a romance, there's a relationship between you and that watch, and that brings me to my next point, and that is that a watch can really be a definition of an extension of your personality. And whether it is, because there's so many different types of analog watches out there, right? You've got square, you've got that Cartier tank, that's that beautiful classic design. You've got some of the really kind of over the top, well, I don't know if you want to say over the top, but some of those very complicated looking watches like the Richard Milles, and even to a point like a Breitling or a Citizen with the flight computer and all the different gadgets and gizmos, along with our watches. Some of ours are a little bit more simpler in design, some of ours look a little bit more complicated, but it's also a reflection of who we are, right? It's an extension of our personality. When you're wearing a smartwatch that everybody else also has and wears, it doesn't, yeah, you can change the band and everything, but really it's not an extension of your personality. I know that you can customize the face, you can do all that kind of stuff all day long, and that's fine, no problem, go for it, you know, make it, paint it whatever color you want. But when you look at an analog watch on somebody's wrist, you really are finding out something about that person. So I think that's also another very important part of an analog watch. Another reason, yes, Jonathan, you're totally right. It is a piece of art, 100%. I couldn't agree more. Another reason, and I think this one is very important if you are wanting to impress. So lately, what we've been doing here at the Abingdon Company is we've been doing job interviews. What is the number one thing that I'm going to notice on somebody when they walk in through the door and I'm interviewing them? What watch are they wearing? Or even, are they wearing a watch? So if you're walking into a boardroom, if you're going out on your first date, if you are dressing to impress, wearing a smartwatch, probably not going to be the best idea. The other thing too is if you do have those notifications on your smartwatch and you're there for a job interview, or you're there for a big presentation, you're there for something, even just to go out, you know, in Las Vegas, a lot of people, they go out and about to impress with CEOs and with clients that they want to close and all that type of stuff, and you're wearing a smartwatch that's beeping on text messages or vibrating on phone calls and that type of thing, you're really not going to impress the people that you're with. So do them the courtesy of just wearing a good-looking watch, one that reflects your personality, tells a little bit about you, has a romance and an art to it, and just really speaks a better version of what you are trying to impress upon. So if you really do want to impress, it's much better to have an analog watch than it is to have a smartwatch. Let's see, what is this next comment? Hi, Abingdon, Merry Christmas. Thank you from Romania. Awesome. I'm very happy that I resisted and not bought a smartwatch over the years. Not that I don't like them. In a couple years, a smartwatch is not usable. That's a very good point. Having a smartwatch, you definitely will have outdated. And I mean, with the watch that I'm wearing, with this Amelia here, and even my Jackie, if you know my Jackie in Seaplane Green, I've had that watch for over 10 years. There's no way I would be able to wear a smartwatch for 10 years. The OS is gonna outdate. You're gonna need to upgrade it eventually. It's not gonna happen, right? So let's see what else we got. We got, spot on the wrist. A classic watch is definitely more. I bet the same battle happened during the quartz crisis. Analog rules the world. Completely, I agree. Yep, definitely a poor investment. Yeah, there's so many different things that we could probably go on. It sounds like most of the people that are tuning into this live, you guys definitely agree. There's a reason why analog still has its place. And not to say that smartwatches don't. They are an extension of your phone, they're an extension of your computer. It's a wearable. That's why they call them wearables. I wouldn't necessarily call it a watch. A watch to me is an analog piece. It's a piece that refines, it's an extension of my personality, much like a tattoo is. When you see somebody with a bunch of tattoos, you find out about that person. You can tell a lot about people by what they wear, how they wear it, and just who they are. So analog watches, the artistry, the romance, the beauty, the extension of yourself, your personality, the fact that it is not going to outdate. I think that's an absolutely brilliant point that one comment brought up. Also, if you want to impress, if you do not want digital interruptions. And the other thing that I really like about analog watches that you're not really going to find with any of the smart watches for here is that you are really going to find a uniqueness. You're going to see that there are so many watches out there that have skeleton casebacks or fronts, that you have different features, the chronographs, the GMTs, the different functions like a compass that was brought up earlier. There's so many different parts that can be built into an analog watch that you're just not going to see in a smartwatch. So it is so different. You're going to get so much more variety. I mean, we're not the type of people that, at least most of us, that have the same outfit in our closet every single day that we wear. We dress for how we feel, for what what the weather is outside, for all of those different types of things. An analog watch is it's a demonstration of who we are, what we're feeling that day, what we want to do that day. If we want to go down underwater, taking a dive watch is probably going to be a lot better than taking a smartwatch. Not to say that there aren't some smartwatches that can go diving right now, and I'm sure they're going to improve the technology as well, but with all the other points that we brought up, there's just so much more variety that you're going to find, so much more classicness that you're going to find. It's a no-brainer to me. So there's a couple other questions or a couple other comments too. I too have an Apple Watch, but it makes me nervous with all of the alarms, etc. So I almost never wear it. My heart is with analog watches. Yes, 100% Blake, I am in total agreement with you. I have worn this Apple Watch before and just tested out some of the features, but to me, I'm connected when I dial into work and I'm on my computer and I've got my phone with me. That's when I go and I get connected to tech, connected to the rest of the world and all of that. But if I am on Christmas Day with my family, I'm gonna wear an analog watch. I'm gonna turn off the tech and I'm gonna spend time with the people that I love. I don't want those alarms. I don't want all those notifications, all those buzzes. So, agree with you. I even have a collection of vintage analog watches and I love them all. Absolutely, I have a couple of my father and grandfather's watches, which are some old Omegas and Hamiltons, and you're not gonna collect old smartwatches. Does that make sense? It's just not going to happen. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. This is a short video because I unfortunately am just totally under the weather, but I really appreciate everybody's comments that came in. If you have not subscribed yet to the channel, go ahead and click the subscribe button. We talk about watches. We're going on a lot more adventures in the next year, and you're going to see some really, really cool videos of some of the things that we're going to be doing. But I hope you thoroughly enjoyed this, and if you are considering a smartwatch versus an analog watch, go ahead and get both, but realize that you're not going to have the same treatment for a smartwatch that you would for an analog watch. An analog watch will always get you farther, and it will always impress more with the people that you're with. And it's also a little bit, you're just gonna have better respect for the people that you're with when you don't have a watch that's buzzing and alarming and making all sorts of sounds and noises in front of them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for joining in. I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful rest of your year, and I will see you guys on the next video.